another life.
And 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Swimming pools are great for family fun, and Central Hudson wants you to play it safe. Never operate an electric appliance next to or in the pool. Be sure pool motors and filters are grounded. Have them installed by a professional and serviced by a licensed professional electrician. Be very careful if there are electric lines above or near a pool, especially if using long-handled cleaning tools. And if a storm is nearby, get out of the water. Your safety matters.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Jackie Lovezzo. I'm from Lake Katrine, and I support the Kingston Community Radio because it is an invaluable resource to the community and its residents.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
All right, folks, we're on. This is Thunder Thursday, man. We're here. It's a beautiful day. I'm Tony Marmo.
Dan Gruner.
And thank you for coming in, brother. We appreciate it. That's pinch hitting for Val Dwyer. And she's, I don't know.
Tony, did you get a haircut?
Yeah, I did, man.
You did?
Yeah, it's short.
Got them all cut.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Got them all cut, yeah.
You both did. I'm over.
I didn't know. I don't see you that much.
Yeah.
I see him a lot, so I know. I was like, whoa, he got a haircut.
Yeah. Yeah, you did
but
too.
But the next time you come on, I'll be like, Dan, did you get a haircut?
Yeah, so thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. And I know this is not your first rodeo, but I think it's our first rodeo. No?
No, I was on with you and Val at one point.
No, but you and I as co-hosting. This is the first. So thank you for thanks for doing that. And so what's happening? What's going on in your world? Busy, not busy? We were talking a little bit off the air about the insurance world. You're at Rose and Kiernan. Not sure everybody knows that. How long you been there?
It's going on 11 years.
11 years, man.
We actually sold the company in the middle of COVID, which was... So still Rose and Kiernan here locally, but we became part of a company called NFP last August, which is based out of New York City, much bigger firm. But, I'm excited. They're letting us do our own thing here locally.
Good.
But insurance world's good. It's been, like every other business, COVID, during the beginning of COVID, you had the insurance companies allowing companies to reduce exposures mid-year, which generally you can't do.
What does that mean, reduce exposures?
Reduce your sales, reduce your payroll, which ultimately brings down your insurance premiums.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was an unknown. And, as I mentioned to you before we came on, it kind of looked like we could fall off a cliff. But we were able to stabilize and keep moving. And luckily, we're able to bring on some new clients during that time, and that helped balance it out. So, the world is definitely, from what I see, getting back to a much better place. We still have a ways to go, but generally businesses are open now. We're seeing customers on a limited basis for the first time in a year and a half, which for someone like me who used to be on the road 3 to 4 days a week,
Right.
I'm not used to being in the office.
Yeah. You're going a little stir crazy in there.
Yeah.
Rose and Kiernan, though, they've been around for a long time. Did they start in the Albany area, correct?
So about 150 years ago, based out of Albany, and then one of the ways insurance agencies grow is through acquisition. And about 20 years ago, they acquired the Augustine agency, which was
right.
Jeff and Joanne Fredenberg.
Yep.
And I joined locally, this would be 11 years ago. And, what I was attracted to at the time is we were an employee-owned company.
Right.
With a lot of resources. The insurance
Yep.
world gets complicated.
Yep.
And then as we started to look, 2 years ago, if you're employee-owned, you have to pay people out.
Yeah.
And it started to get very top-heavy just through, the age of our demographics.
Right.
We went out into the market and received 3 offers, and we're set to sign a deal April 1st of last year, and then COVID hit. So it was put on hold, and then we're able to bring it back together and go through August 1st. So
one of the things I remember about Rose and Kiernan, because I've been around for a while now, and I can't remember the fellas or the fella in Albany that we were dealing with at one point when I was at Kingston Hospital, but he said they rarely do any advertising, or you rarely did any advertising, but what they do is support all 501c3s or not-for-profits. So that's kind of how they believe that's what he told me at the time. I don't know if that changed or morphed into something different, but supporting 501c3s, not-for-profit organizations in the community is how you got the word out about the agency. Is that kind of sort of true?
Yeah, we created a separate 501c3 called the Rose and Kiernan Charitable Foundation, which was a separate entity from Rose and Kiernan, and that organization still exists. And
interesting.
Our CEO, John Murray's philosophy was, get out in the community.
Yeah.
We had to report every year what boards we served on.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is so amazing.
So, very generous. Obviously, guidelines now being
different.
The world has changed, but my event, the Bike for Cancer Care, they've been a gold sponsor since I've been with Rose and Kiernan.
No, that's great.
And it enables us to get out and be visible in the community while supporting our nonprofit clients.
Right. Talk about that event that you started. I know it was in honor of your mom, memory of your mom. So just tell folks about that, because I'm not sure they all know that. I mean, I know this is like sounds like a little interview, but I know you just come on and jump into something, and people don't really know who you are. So you're a local guy.
Last time I was here, Larry joked that everybody in Kingston knows me, but I don't think that's true anymore.
Yeah, well, it's changed. The demographic has changed.
18 years ago, after we lost our mom to cancer, we decided we wanted to give back as a family, and we partnered with the Benedictine Health Foundation, founded the Rosemary D. Gruner Memorial Cancer Fund, and then launched the Bike for Cancer Care. And when we started, we were just helping local cancer patients and their families kind of however we could. And we identified a need that was much bigger than we had any idea about. So we went to a formal process of gift cards to Hannaford for groceries, Stewart's for gas, and, the Bike for Cancer Care is our funding vehicle.
Big deal, yeah.
And so, we kind of learned on the fly, and I'll never forget the first Bike for Cancer Care. I was sharing it up at the time and might have had a little nervous energy going into it. And at the end of the day, we raised $44,000.
Yeah.
And
amazing.
What then we learned was we're giving out almost all that money.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of this
circular
hamster wheel,
yeah,
which really pushed us to grow the event, because our dad let us really find our way through this.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing he said when we were talking, my siblings and I were sitting at our kitchen table in Hurley, and he said, "Go in people's pockets once."
Right.
And I remember, I said, "Dad, what do you mean?"
What does that mean? You're right.
He says, we ask once and we ask big.
Yeah.
And he left it at that.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And thank God the community has been
Responded, yeah.
You know, we've been raising north of $100,000 for more than 10 years.
Yeah,
We've raised,
that's amazing.
you know, right now we're probably more than $1.7 million since we started.
Jeez, that's incredible. Good for
And
you.
we've given out,
Congratulations.
you know, what I'm more proud of is, you know, we've helped more than 2,000 families right here in Ulster County, and we make it immediate. We make it quiet. We wanted to do it the way our mom did, and our mom helped people one-on-one, a lot of people we didn't know about. So that's been the mantra since the beginning. And, you know, I think one of the things our family talked about was as you grow, you tend to change. But we've stuck to that. And, you know, people will say, well, my brother now, AJ, chairs the event because after 15 years,
You're tired.
I think people were tired of me, and
yeah,
I
right.
was tired. And,
right.
So, but, you know, I've always told people that the thing I'm most proud of is 18 years later, I'm still talking about my mom.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great memory to keep going forward. And when is the event? When do you hold it? Or is it
It's every September. It's September 26th this year, bikeforcancer.org, and that's bikeforcancer.org. And very excited to announce that we're honoring the great Tommy Keegan this year.
Oh, great. Okay. Fantastic.
He was a huge supporter of ours. Our other event, Sample, Sip, and Savor, Tommy was the second person I talked to. And one of his many famous lines, whatever you need, brother.
Yeah.
And so he created Keegan Army a couple years ago, which is a Sunday morning running club that's now morphed into a biking club. So the 5K this year, which we added 3 years ago, is a run walk, will be in honor of Tommy. And, you know, I met Tommy right when I moved back to Kingston, and he became a great friend and somebody I could always rely on. And I didn't want to bring it up. Somebody on our committee brought it up. But
it's a good idea to keep his memory going too. Well, that'll be hard to extinguish, really.
Yeah.
So that's good. So it's a bike. It's a bike event. It's a run walk event.
Yeah,
there used to be a swim event too.
That was separate, but yeah, we swam the Hudson.
Oh man,
yeah. Joe Bikert and Flo Bikert and I swam from Rhinecliff to Kingston. I'm not doing that again.
Oh my God, from Rhinecliff to Kingston.
Yeah, but we have 3 bike events: a 12, 25, and 50-mile ride, and then the 5K. We added that a couple of years ago because not everybody bikes, so.
Right.
You know, and none of them are races. The goal is to get as many people out and participate. So
right.
We usually, between the 4 events, attract anywhere from, 600 to 700 participants.
Wow, that's a big deal.
You know, and I always tell people it's a fundraiser. You know. It's not a competitive event.
Right.
Our website's got all the tools. You can set up an individual fundraising page, a team page. We've put a lot of letters in there where you just click and send it out.
And go, yeah.
Yeah, make it easy on people.
Yep.
And it's amazing what these teams raise for us. The team out of the YMCA, they're, it's not uncommon for them to do $7,000-8,000.
Wow, that's amazing.
And many other teams, and Ed Hill, who's on our board now,
sure.
he's a fundraising machine. So,
Yep.
That's what makes us be able to help the people we do.
We have such a generous community, I have to say. I mean, I'm knocking on doors all the time for various organizations I belong to. And it's stunning to me how the community just keeps responding. And look, the COVID, the pandemic situation did kind of stall a little bit in terms of some of the fundraising efforts. But, what I'm seeing now is people are coming back saying, hey, the community needs support. I mean, that's just the way it goes. It's always needed support, and there's always places to donate, and just pick your passion, man. Whatever you want.
Yeah, last year we were faced with the difficult decision of what do we do, and we ultimately decided because our requests for support, March, April, May, were absolutely through the roof.
Oh, I believe it.
Which fortunately we're prepared for, but when you are hosting an event that raises net $100,000.
Yeah.
You take that out of a small nonprofit entity, and it could hurt.
Yeah,
we
sure.
decided to do a virtual event, and
Did you get decent response out of that?
we had an unbelievable response,
Yeah,
and
great.
none of us knew what to expect.
Right, sure.
And so we were doing some video campaign, and I'd asked some sponsors, some volunteers, some participants to be a part of it. And one of our sponsors, who she'll freak out if I mention her because they're
I'll
very
give her initials. Or
they're
something.
very quiet in what they do,
Okay.
but she'll know who I'm talking about. And I made it very clear to her. I was asking her to participate in the video as one of our founding sponsors, not to try and get them to donate last year, because they were closed.
Sure.
And I knew that. And she shows up, hands me an envelope, and it's for a gold sponsorship
Wow.
of $2,500.
Holy crow, that's great.
And I turned to Bernadette Rexford, who's our executive director of the foundation. I said, we're going to be good.
Yeah.
And when you see somebody, a local business like that, do that, when they're closed,
Yeah.
it's because they believe in what we do.
Yep.
And we're very transparent in what we do, and I think that's more important than ever.
By the way, cancer didn't stop during COVID.
No.
Folks think that we know COVID took front and center, and for obvious reasons and appropriate reasons, but all the other diseases that took people from this earth didn't stop. So kudos to you and what you're doing for continuing to push cancer, help for folks with cancer, families. My hat's off to you and all you do for sure. So we got a good show today. Let's see. We have at 7:30. We have Rick Soshensky. Rick is a music therapist. Local guy's been in the area for a while. I've worked with him at a couple of different nursing homes, and he just wrote a book, so he's going to talk about his book. At 8 o'clock, we have Tim Wiedemann, the Director of Economic Development for Ulster County. We'll get and he's going to be in the studio first time. We got to, put some breadcrumbs so he knows where the heck he's going. And then at 8:30, we have Thomasine Oliphant, who is the Director of Employment and Training and Workforce Development Board in Ulster County. So that's the jobs part of it,
Got it all covered.
Got it all covered today, man. We're doing good. We're doing good. So what else is going on in the community? What's your sense? We're talking earlier about jobs, right?
Yeah, I love to mention last night, my son's a lacrosse player, but all his buddies are baseball and basketball players. And last night we went down to Block Park to watch the playoffs of the Tay Fisher Summer Series basketball. And
packed? A lot of folks?
It was packed.
Yeah, good.
Great games.
Yeah.
Tay was there. Had an opportunity to talk to him, and Tay's got some exciting things to come.
Good. Good.
Is talk about a guy that's...
He stayed in the community? Or
No, he lives up in Albany,
Oh,
but
okay.
he brought this summer series back.
Nice.
Has plans to do it next year.
Good.
Has plans to do some other things that I'm going to help him out with. Talk about a guy that gives back.
Yeah.
And, it really...
Got to get him on KCR, man. Let's get him on.
That's a great idea. I'm actually going to be meeting with him soon, and I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it spurred a lot of thoughts. There's a lot of back and forth in Kingston, and yesterday or Tuesday, the police chief was here and for the first time stood up publicly to people that don't want to support security cameras and an armored vehicle. And
good.
I was looking around last night after I talked to Tay, and I said, this is what Kingston is.
Right.
Not what a small group of people are claiming it is.
Right. Rattling cages, right.
Yeah, and as Chief Tinty said the other day, the people that are screaming, if you've done nothing wrong, you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And it spurred a conversation with my son on the way home because he's a very inquisitive kid.
Yeah.
He's also a very observant kid. And we were driving by George Washington's stool, and he said, "Where's a picture of George Washington?"
Right.
I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "It just says GW now." I said, "I don't know, Hayden. I wasn't paying attention."
Yeah. Yeah.
And he says, "I don't,
New eyes.
let
New
me
eyes.
understand all this, Dad."
Yeah.
And he was referring to the climate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, "Hayden, let me, I've been around long enough." I said, unfortunately, we go through these periods of time where, small group of people want to create,
Right.
unrest or challenge or whatever. But what was going on in Block Park last night was a reality.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I said to him, I said, yeah, it's tough. I said, but if we get up and do the right thing every day,
Right.
our world will be okay. The world will be okay.
Right. Yeah.
And so he says, "Dad, you got to run for mayor."
There you go.
And that's not the first time somebody said that to me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm running for mayor, to be clear.
Right. This is the radio, so be careful.
And, yeah, I know.
Right.
However, I see a little bit of tide turning,
Yeah.
and it's not out of the realm. And we got to fix this.
Well, and folks that are on the sidelines need to speak up if they have a contrary opinion. I know folks sometimes are afraid to express an opinion that might be not popular with what the current words are, because they don't want to get into a confrontation, But there's a lot of well-intended, good people in this community that are concerned about everybody in the community. They're not racists. They're not, looking to, So there's a lot of good and decent people, that don't see color, don't see gender, don't see sexual orientation. They don't see any of that. They just see good people, And
I mean, you and I have known each other a long time, and I think we've always kind of gravitated towards each other because we have a similar mindset.
Yep.
Do what you can to help.
Yeah, exactly.
If your intent is to hurt,
then go somewhere else.
I already see where, there's a big Facebook group called the Parents of Kingston City School District.
Yeah.
And there's a board member who's taken it upon themselves to start posting things about, the Delta variant and COVID, and you know where this is going. They're trying to set the table. So, Herb Lamb, if you're listening this morning, I challenged you with a response, and you blocked me.
Yeah.
So, you're not willing to hear the other side.
Right.
I offered a solution, which I'd like to offer to everybody right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you don't want to attend school in the fall, make remote an option. If you want your child to wear a mask, have them wear a mask.
Yeah.
There is
Common
zero scientific data
Right.
that masks help and children will infect other people.
Right.
I challenged him on that, and he blocks me.
Yeah.
So that's the mentality. Herb, we want to help you.
Right.
You got to help yourself.
Yeah, right.
And yes, I am calling you out because not did you block me once. You then posted another article I commented on. You blocked me again. Yeah. You're an elected public official. You should understand.
Listen to all sides.
I am not somebody screaming on top of a mountain.
Very calm voice.
I do a lot of research.
Yeah.
I talk to people about it. I talk to people in the medical community about it.
Yeah. No data out there.
But just block it. Block me.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's people have gotten to a point of, they've dug into their side or their, whatever they're promoting, and not willing to listen or have a dialogue with somebody. And that's all, I think most people are asking for. Let's just work this out. Where's the common ground? Is there a middle ground anywhere? Or you're going to stay on your side and I'm going to stay on my side. We're not going to get anywhere. It's just going to be sides. And then regular people just say, you know what? I don't want to get involved in this.
Well, that's the thing.
They don't want to get sucked into the controversy and
someone contacted me yesterday to thank me for standing up, and I said, well, I didn't say anything earth-shattering.
Right.
I just pointed out contrary to what he posted.
Yeah.
And I've been encouraging people, stop screaming on Facebook.
Yeah.
Get out and do something about it.
Right.
Because Val and I talk about this all the time. We're only two people.
Right.
We just happen to believe that you stand up for stand up for your children.
Yeah.
To any parent out there, stand up for your child. They're not going to eat you alive.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, and our buddy Scott Harrington would say, no, but be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Go do a service project. Help, join the Lions, join Rotary, join a service organization that's trying to help folks. Generally, that's what they do, not just throwing stones, and that's...
How many people have you approached over the years just to get involved with something to help our community and they balk?
You know what? I don't know. It's hard to say that. I would say maybe 50%. I don't know.
But that to your point, right?
Yeah.
If we all just work together,
yeah,
it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
we want to be safe. We want to be healthy. We want to be fed.
Yeah. And everyone. We're not talking about, just a certain segment of the population. I mean, it's that's kind of...
And that's why I brought up Tay Fisher.
Yeah.
In his summer series. These kids they were having a phenomenal time.
Yeah.
And their parents were having a great time. The Aiden's Friends game went right down to the wire. I mean, it might as well have been NCAA game.
Great.
While the way the parents were cheering and maybe a little frustrated, but it was fantastic to see.
So yeah, that's good news. So yeah, Tay has done a lot, and he's a guy that has had some hard work, good fortune, and he's figuring out a way to spin that back to the community, right?
Yeah, and he always, even when he was playing for the Globetrotters, at the Health Foundation, we at the time were doing some stuff in behavioral health and arranged for him to speak at the high school, and it's a speech every kid should hear. Talked about growing up on Van Buren Street and everything he overcame and what you said exactly. Nobody works harder than Tay Fisher.
Yeah, exactly. And he could have very well said, like some of these athletes that, just make a bunch of money and then go buy a Maserati or go buy a this or go buy a that or go buy another house and buy a boat, whatever. It just honked me like crazy about this Bezos thing that, I'm not sure how much money was spent on that. It was like a roller coaster ride on steroids or something.
Can't say on the air what I was thinking.
No, I'm saying how much money was wasted doing that. It was not scientific. It was not research. It was not, okay, let's, maybe go up to the moon and, figure out if there's something's different up there that can help people here. No, it was like just a joyride. And, so you got, I don't know, anybody know how much that thing cost? You know how much it cost? I have no idea.
I don't, but to make him
500 million.
Oh, way more than that.
Way more than that. Like a billion, a couple billion.
But to make himself feel better, he gave a $100 million donation to two people he recognized at the end, which is noble.
Yeah.
But, it's
I know.
It's kind of like the Buffett bucks,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You read the...
I did read it. I did read it. Yep. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, but that one is a little bit more socially pointed. I mean, Bezos is just getting in a rocket ship and going up and spinning around the earth or whatever the hell he did.
What my son told me, they were only in space for like 3 minutes.
I know.
I don't know.
He could jump out of an airplane at 13,000 feet and get the same thrill. I mean, I don't know. It's... So anyway, it's just like, oh my God, what a show of opulence and money, and this is what's wrong with the country. I mean, with this guy.
You got me curious. I want to know how much it costs.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. It's got to be in the billions, right? It's got to be in the billions.
Well, you think between the research and all the engineers and
it's got to be a ton of money.
I'm sure it's disclosed clearly.
I'm going to say 10 billion. That's going to be my guess.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
I don't know. Maybe
the rocket.
500 million, billion.
I mean, the rocket was it's like a toy. I mean, I say a toy. I mean, somebody was controlling it. It was
all remote.
It was all remote.
Yeah.
And somebody was with a joystick.
Right. Your life is at the hands of a joystick.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's where we're touching on some good stuff this morning. But what else? We have we'll talk about KCR for a second. Thank you to our sponsors, underwriters. Thank you to our contributors. We're having our Happy Christmas Fund and KCR fund drive coming up in November 4th, Lawrence, right?
November 4th.
Right.
I haven't confirmed with Sally yet, but I just sent her a text message yesterday, so I'm sure it's all go. I just wanted to confirm the date with her.
Right. So
November 4th from 7 to 5.
That's going to be an opportunity for folks to support the Happy Christmas Fund, which has been around for, 55 years or more.
For a long time.
Long time. And
longer than me and Dan have been alive.
Yeah, right. And so that's, talk about helping other people. That's what KCR does, and through the Happy Christmas Fund. And if KCR is not on the air, Happy Christmas Fund doesn't happen.
Right. You can't have one without the other.
We're the conduit to get the message out there about supporting hundreds of families over the years. I think that number has been like 2.5 million. Lawrence, how much since 65? It's been a lot.
It's like 1.8. I think over the 55
mil?
years. I know last year we did almost 500 families.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
and some of those families have 2 or 3 children. So.
Right. So, so it's, again, a worthy cause, and hopefully folks are going to support KCR, and we're a 501c3 not-for-profit,
Yep.
We're not like a mega radio station that, 50,000-watt signal, thankfully.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
I'll save my comments.
Save your comment.
Brian Waltman just texted me. Bezos spent $6 billion on his flight.
$6
billion?
Yeah. $6 billion. I guess
6
10.
billion.
All right. I was. Thank you, Brian.
Just to go up. It took 20 minutes for him to go up and come back down?
I guess they were only in space for 3
No, they
or 4
just
minutes.
touched the space, and then he just came right back down. He didn't hang out up there.
No.
Yeah,
they
he
were
went up
run-
into left
$6
the
billion.
atmosphere, came back down.
It was just obnoxious.
And he made that much money yesterday probably on Amazon.
Oh, please, yeah.
Yeah.
And to think it all started from him selling used books.
I know, out of his
Nuts, dude.
out of his garage or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. And they were used. They weren't even new. They were used books. Are you guys want to go
All
to
right,
break?
Lawrence, take us to break, and then we're going to come back with Rick Soshensky.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Swimming pools are great for family fun, and Central Hudson wants you to play it safe. Never operate an electric appliance next to or in the pool. Be sure pool motors and filters are grounded. Have them installed by a professional and serviced by a licensed professional electrician. Be very careful if there are electric lines above or near a pool, especially if using long-handled cleaning tools. And if a storm is nearby, get out of the water. Your safety matters.
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas for Habitat for Humanity Restore. Habitat Restores are nonprofit home improvement stores and donation centers that sell new and gently used furniture, building materials, and appliances to the public at a fraction of the retail cost. The Ulster County Restore at 406 Route 28 in Kingston needs your donations. Call our hotline at 845-853-7499 to schedule your free pickup. And thanks.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? By shifting to a system that gives more patients access to strong primary care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
Screening exams for breast, lung, or colorectal cancers are necessary to detect and treat disease at its earliest, most curable stage. But you may have some concerns and questions. Answer your questions and ease your fears by visiting radiologyinfo.org. In addition to information on screening and wellness, you'll find more than 200 descriptions of radiologic exams, procedures, and treatments to help you prepare. Get informed and be prepared. Visit radiologyinfo.org. Produced by the Radiological Society of North America and the American College of Radiology.
Hi, this is Jared Mans from the Spring Lake Fire Department, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio has been brought to you by the First Savings Bank in Ulster County that still remains local to this day. Ulster Savings Bank, a community bank that's invested in local business, invested in community, invested in you. Ulster Savings Bank, your one-stop resource for everything local. Locations throughout the Hudson Valley and online at ulstersavings.com. Member FDIC.
In some way.
Okay, guys, we're back on. This is Thunder Thursday. I did that for Judge Don Williams because he likes when I do that. But so we're here. This is Tony Marmo.
Dan Gruner.
We're co-hosting today. First time, first rodeo for us together. I mean, we've been in the studio together before, but first time, trying to fly the airplane around. And
I'll let you fly.
Yeah, no, that's okay. No, it's a co-pilot thing. So we're joined this half-hour segment by a good friend, Rick Soshensky. Rick and I have kind of a long history together, right, Rick?
2005, back in the old Northeast
Center days. Yeah. Wow.
That was a
right.
Fast ride
Talk
up.
about a rocket. Talk about
down.
a rocket. Right. Tony Salerno, rest his soul. He was a guy that was a visionary and put together the first ever collection of traumatically brain-injured patients under one roof, and that was never done before, at least in New York State, and it was quite an interesting place, right, to say the least.
Was.
To say the least. So.
And Anthony Salerno paid the salaries, not Medicaid reimbursed, for all these arts people that we, accumulated this award-winning arts program.
Yeah.
It was really exciting.
Yeah. No.
And ironically, that's where you and I got to really know each other.
Right.
I worked with you and Ann over there.
Yeah. Ann Belcher, right.
Yeah.
Right. On the insurance side,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. That's exactly.
Yeah, that was
So-
the work you did there was amazing.
Yeah, no, that was a very cool place. I mean, it's still there today. I'm sure they've morphed a little bit, like most healthcare facilities in this day and age. Probably owned by some conglomerate now. Who knows? But Rick, give your background, and I'm not sure folks really know what music therapists do. I mean, there's two words that kind of give a little hint to it. But where'd you grow up? What's your background?
Oh, well, my growing up, it's not all that interesting. I grew up in Queens, and then my folks moved out to Long Island.
Okay.
And
travel, right? Queens to Long Island?
Yeah,
well Long Island's a big
that's what you did back in those days, I
right.
guess. Went out to the suburbs.
Yeah. So school-wise?
I was a very average student. I didn't have a motivation. I didn't really know where I was heading with that. I just did it because that's what had to do.
You were supposed to do, right?
When I got out of school, out of college, which was college to me was sort of an extension of high school. You just kind of did it, I still wasn't clear where I was headed. The only talent that I felt I had at that point that was could give me direction was music. Mm-hmm. So I played guitar and I sang a little bit and I wrote a few songs, and I figured, well, if that's what you can do, then you become a rock star. That
right.
That was the only thing I could think of to actually do.
Right.
That's what I tried for a good 10, 15 years. Went into New York City and tried to make it in the music business.
Yeah.
And, you have this idea that you're the next Dylan, and then you go into New York City and
you're a
everybody
fish.
Around you is the next Dylan.
Right.
Or whomever.
Right. But it was a good experience for you, right? Being in that.
Well, looking back on it now, what I have to offer the clients that I see, this is makes me a little bit more advanced than a lot of music therapists, because I developed all those professional chops. I can really play, and I can sing, and I learned how to write songs, and I learned how to record, and I did all those things that you do when you're trying to make it as a musician, and had a lot of experiences. As you know, I played high-level parties, including the royal wedding of Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew, and a lot of amazing. Well, I got with this big band that was the top society party band in the world. So I was the featured rock artist. That was kind of the pinnacle of my career. It wasn't that great though, because you're just playing songs for dancing for people.
Right.
It's kind of a high-level bar, you know.
Yeah, right. Fancy bar. Right. Drinks are more expensive. Everything's more expensive, but it's yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I wasn't making it in the songwriting business, you know, and I got nervous that I was going to become an aging, you know, bar and wedding singer. So
right.
Started looking around for something else to do. Music therapy came to me. It really came to me in sort of a process, and you know, so like I said, now I had developed all those professional skills to now I can bring it to the benefit of my client, you know, and as you know, we did all this recording and developed a band and concerts and stuff like that, and you know, so it really shaped my view of music therapy, because if you ask, you know, 10 music therapists what is music therapy, you might get 10 different answers.
What's your answer?
Well, my answer is, okay. Another cup of coffee, please.
Yeah, right. This is philosophical. Well, your book
that's
says,
my answer. My book.
Yeah,
but
I know it's a long book, and I was telling Dan, for guys with older guys with we definitely need the bifocals with this one. But it says the music therapy studio empowering the soul's truth.
Yeah.
Which is maybe a lead into, you know, what you see as music therapy. You know, it's a form of.
Well, music is another language. You know, we're talking here. That's one language, right? It's using a certain part of our brain and neurological system to communicate in this way. But as you know, there are many people that, you know, with various impairments and so forth, couldn't do this. Right. So that's the idea of music therapy, is that we're channeling another part of the person, you know, and my belief, of course, is that part is not impaired, right? You might have the spoken communication impaired, or the memory storing, you know, but of course, as we know about memories, you know, like in the case of traumatic brain injury or Alzheimer's or something like that, people who cannot remember what they had for lunch can sing entire songs, right? And so that's clear that music is reaching into another part of who we are, our wholeness. So, you know, you're trying to get into that part, which is the musical part, the artistic part, which is not impaired. I don't believe. I've never really, you know, some people are better at music than others. That is true. But that musical part is not affected by whatever the case may be, right? By autism or brain injury or mental illness or whatever. The music part is still intact. So you're trying to reach through the impairment part to get out at this other part, you know, and the stronger that, because there are people more talented than others, you know, that's their stronger piece of them, you know, the stronger that is, the more impact it's going to have. But I've never seen anybody that really can't respond to it in some way. So you're trying to bring out what you would call the healthy part of the person through the language of music, as opposed to the other part that, you know, 99.5% of the world is going to see, right? The part that's impaired, right? And they're going to treat the person according to that impairment.
Right.
But I don't. I treat the person according to what kind of musical interaction we can get into, right? And through enhancing that, then the person can get better in various ways, right? If you have communication problems or self-esteem problems or whatever the case may be, you know, through enhancing the musical part, you know, maybe you're hoping that will impact the person's life elsewhere as well, right? Which is the therapy idea of it.
Right, and it takes a while to do that. I tell a story about it. There's a couple of stories of people in the book, patients or residents at some of the places that you worked. The one fellow that in particular I remember is Dennis. And
Dennis.
Let's just take a quick call. Good morning, caller. You're on KCR. What's your comment or question?
Okay, I would like to mention something about music therapy and my feelings about it.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's very, very soothing, and I think it's very comforting. And I feel, too, that people who are maybe very stressed, I think it really is very helpful to them as far as calming them and stuff. So I think music therapy is a very positive thing, and I think more people should use it.
I agree. It's give some contact information, Rick, so people know how to get a hold of you if they want to.
Hudson Valley Creative Arts Therapy Studio is my business name, so that's hvcats, hvcats.org. And
HVCats.
HVCats, I call it.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. Cool cats.
Cool cat.
Yeah. So
and
you have a website?
On Facebook, of course, and that's my website, and my phone numbers. Should I give my phone number?
You want to? Yeah.
Or I'll tell you what, a better way is my email, which is also easy to remember, musictherapystudio@gmail.com.
Okay. Music Therapy Studio. And you have a place on Broadway, right?
Right.
Somehow you've battled through all the construction.
Oh, people had to come in the back, but they came because, nobody said I can't handle this,
Right.
Even during the coronavirus, we had the period of enforced lockdown, but once the lockdown was over, everybody came back,
Right.
we had to wear masks or whatever, but once this becomes ingrained in your life for people that really don't have much else going on, it becomes very important to them.
Yeah, sure.
And then, so I didn't really, my business, survived, and I was very happy about that.
Could you talk about, I don't know much about music therapy, but now I'm going back in time where my son went to Brookside School for preschool out in Cottikill.
Oh, yeah,
And somebody
Right.
used to, they serve a lot of children with autistic and things
Special
like
needs.
that.
Right.
Is that one of the populations that you work with? And the reason I ask is, going back in time, I remember, it was very eye-opening to me, the challenge that a lot of these families have.
Oh, yeah.
Do you work with children? I mean, maybe spend a few minutes talking about who you work with.
I've worked with children as young as 1 or 2 and up through geriatric. I'll work with anybody. That's my interest, is what can music do for this person?
Right.
I don't specialize in a particular population per se. So I work with people with autism, mental illness, brain injury. I've worked with people with heavy-duty addiction issues. Almost any population that you want to think of, I've had some experience with it. And the idea is, what can music bring out in that person that they need brought out? Whether it's language, or whether it's self-esteem, or whether it's communication, or whether it's social interaction. Many of these things can be limited with a person that has some form of diagnosed disability, right? So the idea of music therapy is that it's, for me, it's music for healing, growth, personal well-being, enhancement of somebody's life in some way. It's not music lessons. I'm not concentrating on attempting to make somebody play piano better. I'll go any direction. We can sing, we can write songs, we can play instruments, whatever the person is inclined towards. And, but the focus is, how is this of benefit to the person's well-being, the things that might make their life a little richer, as opposed to, how are they going to improve on an instrument or so forth. But you use all the tools of music the same way, playing instruments, playing drums, playing, singing, writing songs, etc.
Now, is this predominantly on an individual basis, or are you affiliated with any of the agencies?
Well, I have my own place, and people come to me for the most part. A lot of individuals, because that's just the way it worked out. A few collaborative groups of people that work well together. But I'll do everything. At Northeast Center, occasionally we had large groups, 25 or more. But that's when working in an institution of some kind. I couldn't fit 25 in my little room now, but I'm the person that sort of knows how to navigate the musical terrain, basically, and I'm going to help bring you into it if you come into my sphere.
I had mentioned the patient Dennis, who was a fantastic guitar player, but didn't remember that he could play the guitar. I mean, essentially, what was the story?
He had serious memory problems and brain damage, and he had also, as you remember, a pretty touchy antisocial tendencies, right? Who could get into fights with somebody very easily.
Drop the hat, right?
Start yelling and cursing. He never hit anybody, as far as I can remember, but he would get pretty agitated.
Yeah.
But he was a great musician, and he could remember songs, but it had to all be in the spur of the moment, and things would just come to him. He couldn't remember the, like a set list or we tried to write songs with him, which was difficult because he couldn't really follow the, I think his reading was shaky. I don't know. We just, with Dennis, it had to be always in the moment, get him going.
Yeah.
But I think the thing about Dennis, which I write about in the book, actually I call him something else in the book. Darryl.
Okay.
I changed people's names.
Yeah.
There's only one name I didn't change, and I don't know if we're going to have time to get into that story, but the reason I didn't change it is so astounding that, it's changed my life. I'm going to just veer off a little bit here because, people like Dennis and some of the people that I write about in the book, they change my life too, because the interaction becomes so strong.
Yeah.
That they become important people in your as you're thinking back, and so Dennis taught me how to play bass for one thing because he was a good guitar player. Why? I'm not going to have to play guitar with him. What does he need? He needs a bass player.
right.
So
a compliment.
Tony and I were talking before you came on about the different things we've been involved in the community, and one thing I've always tried to remember is I've met so many people that in everyday life I never would have had an opportunity to meet.
Right.
And those people, and I could go on for hours about the impact different people from different walks of life have had on me. They may not know it.
Right.
Yeah.
But it truly has made me think about some things differently or get involved in something that I would have brushed off.
Yeah.
Through that experience.
Well,
absolutely.
Just to veer off from Dennis for a second, my first real job after school was in a day treatment program in Red Hook, Brooklyn, which was like the roughest neighborhood in Brooklyn, really. It was originally supposed to be an HIV day treatment, but it was the mid-'90s, and they were starting to develop the medications, so it wasn't a death sentence anymore. So the people that came to this program were basically what you would call street people. They were addicts, mostly very severe addicts, and real tough people, including criminals, muggers, prostitutes, all kinds of real. People that I would not come in contact with, and I got to know them, and certainly one thing I learned was that these people that most people would think are undesirable type people, I didn't ever meet anybody I would call a psychopath or something like that, a person with no conscience, no feelings, who just, they all were beautiful, soulful people who for some reason, that's the way their life went, and it was a very profound experience for me.
So you mentioned something that, there's something in the book that changed your life.
Oh, many things.
Right?
Well, that's one of them.
The one person whose name you didn't change.
Yeah, we want to help you sell the book.
Yeah, right.
Don't tell the whole story, but tell part of the story.
Right.
Okay, but before we go there, I just want to finish the story of Dennis, and that is, I think, the most profound thing about Dennis was how he became part of the community through the music.
Yes.
And his sort of anger issues kind of got a little less. And then, as you know, he sort of suddenly and unsurprisingly died. And do you remember we had a memorial, and it was very touching.
Yeah.
And that was because he became beloved in a way through the music.
Yeah, that's true.
And, here's a guy that would have been completely outside and feared by the community under other circumstances. And yet through the music, he became kind of a hero. And, I think in the last year or two of his life, he was, people were not afraid of him. They said hello to him, and he said hello back. And he really softened up
became more social. Yeah. So who changed your life? I know many have, but we have like 6 or 7 minutes.
6 or 7 minutes to find out how this person changed my life. It's a very I don't know if bizarre is the right word. It's a hard to take story for many people to believe. So I almost hesitate to say it, but there is a young man in my book named Daniel, who was born in an Asian country to an unwed mother, and he was poor, and they put him in an orphanage and basically left him to rot away. In fact, he was born with glaucoma, which could have easily been treated here, but it was not treated there, so he became blind. Yeah. And he was just left there to die, basically, left in a crib, strapped in a crib. And there's people combing the world, apparently, looking for adoptable children. So they found him. Because he seemed to have a little more life than some of the other children strapped to the crib. And they brought him here, and he was adopted. And he turned out to be blind, autistic. He was severely neglected as a child. So he had all kinds of developmental delays. And his parents were told that he's not going to talk. He's going to be a very disabled boy. But they showered him with love, and he did learn to talk, and he grew, and they noticed that he was talking to nobody else that they could see.
So another person, right? Another make-believe person.
Then his older brother died, and he started having conversations, and they said, "Who are you talking to?" And he would say, "Peter," his brother who died, right? So they didn't really know what to make of this, whether he was just mentally disturbed or, but he would pass along information that was true, that he couldn't have known.
Wow.
That Peter told him this and Peter told him that. All right, so fast forward to me.
Right.
I could see he had musical ability. We started to develop the music in him. And, the long and short of the story, without detail at the moment, is that he started to give me information about my deceased parents, and it was true. So and in fact,
a medium of sorts.
My uncle, who was a very talented artist, whose life was destroyed by schizophrenia, very serious schizophrenia. It's a long story too, but unbeknownst to everybody, he was saving his Social Security disability check and putting in an account. And when he died,
he had a boatload of money.
Tens of thousands of dollars for me.
Oh.
Which was my startup money for HV Cats.
Oh, got it.
This is a man who spent his whole life in residences, and
wow.
So he was a very talented artist, and I have paintings on my wall that he did. And Daniel's in there. We're playing drums one day. You can see Daniel on YouTube. I got a lot of YouTube videos. Daniel, who's blind and who knew nothing of my uncle, said his uncle's name was Dave. He said, Dave is happy that Rick has the pictures on his wall.
Oh, man.
Wow. And then he said, and it was around March, I think, which was, as I didn't know that then, but I know now is Dave's birthday. He said, it's Dave's birthday. And he gave me the date of Dave's birthday.
Oh, man.
which I didn't know. And
So
I called
all
up my
of this-
sister and I said, is that his birthday? And she looked up a death certificate and it was. That's just one story.
All of this is in the book.
Yeah, and he's
Where do you buy the book?
Amazon or any book
Forget the bad
outlet.
stuff we said about Bezos.
Oh, sorry
was
about
Tony,
that.
by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Right, that was me.
It's $2 billion a minute.
Yeah, right.
So
Barnes and
yeah,
Noble,
Barnes and Noble, Walmart, or you can get a 30% discount from the publisher's site, which is Roman and Littlefield.
Okay.
Using, I don't have the code with me. Rats. I forgot that. There's a
Well,
code.
if you want to send it to me, I can put it on a Facebook post that I'm going to put up about the show. So it's The Music Therapy Studio by Rick Soshensky. That's Soshensky, Rick Soshensky. And Empowering the Soul's Truth. So
Yeah, because Daniel, for example, what's the truth about him? Is he a blind, autistic, strange person, or has he got something to contribute in this world? Right,
Yeah.
that's his truth, and he has proven to me, without a doubt, and many people wonder about this, whether there is
Connection.
identity and relationship and consciousness after death, and he has proven to me that there is.
Yeah.
So that's some gift, right?
That's amazing. No, that's amazing. You're going to have to come back because I would like to do another half hour, but we can't. we have to talk about economic development. But Rick Soshensky, thank you for coming in. We'll have you back on the Music Therapy Studio. Give hvcats.org.
hvcats.org and musictherapystudio@gmail.
Yep, great. Thank you so much for coming in. Good
pleasure.
luck. All the best with your book and everything else you're doing, which we just scratched the surface on.
Hopefully.
All right. Thank you, friend.
Thank you.
All right. Take it away, Lawrence.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM. And also online at mykcr.org.
Central Hudson reminds you that summer thunderstorms can strike with strong, gusty winds, knocking down trees and power lines. If you see a downed power line, call 911 immediately to report it. Power lines can carry an electric current strong enough to cause injury or death. Stay at least 30 feet away from a fallen line. Don't try to move it or anything that has come in contact with it. And never drive over a power line. Remember, your safety matters.
There was this one time I went snorkeling in the Caribbean when I was a kid. It really just blew my mind. We saw the most beautiful corals. I remember thinking they were waving at us as they moved with the ocean. And then there were all these amazing fish. I'll never forget it. It completely changed the way I look at the ocean.
Most of us have a memory of being in nature we'll never forget. Let's protect the world's natural places so more memories can be made for generations to come. Visit worldwildlife.org.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
This is the story of Daniel, who was born 2 months early. His lungs weren't ready. His heart wasn't ready. His parents could only hope that one day he would leave the hospital healthy, and they would all live happily ever after. Daniel's is just one of the more than 500,000 stories of babies born prematurely last year. You can help the March of Dimes stop premature birth and bring more babies home healthy. Learn how at marchofdimes.com. Working together for stronger, healthier babies.
Hi, this is Winnie from the Rosendale Seniors, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank. Invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Elders. Yep. All right, folks, we're back. That was a great segment with Rick Soshinsky, but we now joined by, and this is Thunder Thursday, by the way. This is Tony Marmo.
Dan Gruner.
And we're joined by Tim Wiedemann. Welcome. We have to do birthdays, sure. Tim, and this is great to see you in the studio. What do you think of the studio?
It's great. I haven't been in the new studios.
Yeah,
they're not so new anymore, but it's been a while.
But we like to say they're new because since May, when Lawrence?
March 20, right before COVID we got here. Oh, boy. Yeah, literally like a couple days before they locked us down.
Last time I was here, you were saying it was like...
It literally, if we would have waited a week... and decided a week later we'd still be in the old studio.
Right. So so they're not as new, but we
some good things have come out of COVID.
That's true.
We do have a birthday to announce. You want to do it, big guy?
Sure.
You do that, and I'll do the ta-da.
All right. Yeah, I'll leave the music to Tony. So birthday today, Thursday, July 22nd. Please wish a happy birthday to Thomas Harvey. From your friends and family, the Cruz family. Happy birthday, Thomas.
Great. Okay, and Thomas, you're it. You're the number one, the only person in the planet born on July 22nd.
My Uncle Paul missed it by a day. He is tomorrow. So happy Gruner Paul.
So Thomas wins the delicious cow pie from Boyce Dairy Milk House, 62, and they are really good. I have to say they do pack a few calories in, so going to have to give up something else to do that. But congratulations, Thomas. That's our musical interlude.
The infamous Shamrock Run cowbell.
Yes.
I was part of that distribution.
Man, that's been around a long time.
They were fun.
So, Tim Wiedemann, welcome to...
Good to be with you. Good to be in person.
Director of Ulster County Economic Development.
That is right.
There's a lot of stuff going on, I'm sure, right?
Yep, always
Tons.
It's busy all the time, which is good. I think, continued signs of our recovery, our economy's recovery, but it comes with its own challenges and struggles, so that's our day-to-day. So
good. Give us a little overview in terms of what you're seeing. How's Tech City? I know it's been in the news a little bit recently.
Yep. So we're continuing our work. Last week, County Executive announced that we are proceeding with foreclosure on the east side of the former IBM campus, which is a big step. It'll take a while to sort through what that really means and eventually to hopefully get control of that site and turn it into something again.
Great.
I've shared before in some of our past interviews that's kind of a major project that our office is working on, just really recognizing the importance of that site to our county's economy, our whole region's economy, and the fact that it's been way too long since active stuff was happening there. So we're continuing to work more closely on the west side of the campus where the county took control back in 2019. So over the course of the summer, we've had some concerts and movies in the parking lot there. We have had a number of film shoots. It's back. The film industry is roaring in the region again. And so just this week, we're doing a project with some graduate students and faculty at RPI that are doing a video shoot out there.
Nice.
And then we're starting to work on tenants for that building. So in the next few weeks, we'll be announcing some tenants that'll be the first to move into the building in 15 years. And so it'll be great to see some activity back at that site.
Now, the west side is the old Bank of America building.
Yep.
And when you say the east side, does that encompass all those buildings?
All the rest, yeah.
The whole property?
Yep. So last week, this has been kind of a long process, partly challenged by some of the protections that were put in place during COVID. So the moratorium on evictions and foreclosures during COVID, which was designed to protect businesses from inappropriate evictions, but has also made it challenging for us to decide how to proceed on that side of the campus, where continues to be a challenge with the owner not paying taxes and not paying utility bills. So it's a challenge that we continue
not participating.
not participating.
Mail it in.
Yeah. So,
it's like when all those soccer fields there, and when they knocked that one building down, instead of removing everything like he said he was going to, just threw a gigantic tarp over it and said, "See you later."
And Senator,
5 years ago.
Senator Schumer was in town a couple weeks ago, and it was great because he really just gave a shot in the arm to the efforts to really get this turned around, saying that he would be lobbying for funding for the Superfund program to make sure that there's money there to clean it up if the owner does not step forward and do it on its own, which, he'll eventually be held accountable for that. But the biggest and most important thing is to just get it cleaned up so we can move on.
And
now, those buildings, there are tenants in some of those spaces, right?
That's correct, yeah.
What about, I know there's buildings go on forever, but I would imagine some of those require a significant amount of, repair.
Yeah, I think what we've learned from the experience on the west side of the campus is that where there were tenants there paying a lease rate and taking care of the building on their own, then the buildings are in decent shape because the tenant was taking care of them.
Yep.
Where they were empty, they're I'm sure in terrible condition. And so I think again, this is a long road that we're on. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think in any case, the first situation is to figure out how to get a participant on the property owner side that's actually willing to cooperate and come up with something that we can do. And so that's our first step. That's the pressure we're trying to apply now.
Where would the money come from to, I'm just thinking the east side on those vacant buildings, just to clean the place up? I mean,
well, the cleanup, I think my learning process in all this has been that, and it probably, if you kind of stop and think about it, on a 260-acre campus, there's a lot of different conditions in different parts of the campus.
Yeah.
And so there's some existing contamination. These are chlorinated solvents, like basically chlorine bleach and stuff that are in the soil and the groundwater from when IBM was there. And that's a fairly common thing on old industrial sites. But IBM has been a good steward of that, continues to monitor it, has done remediation on that. It is a lessening problem on the site thanks to their work. The more recent stuff with those piles is a problem caused by the current owner. Those are the real two, cleanup needs. And so we have a pretty good handle on those. And I think, again, with Senator Schumer's support on the piles, I think now we know that IBM's taking care of the solvents. EPA
but just
will
like
take care of the cleanup.
I've been back to, we did some indoor training last spring.
Yeah.
Where it's, I forget the name of it, but they get those mini indoor turf fields.
Yep.
The driveway per se, just to get there.
Yeah.
It's
a mess.
Pitch black.
Yeah.
Mess.
Potholes the size of
I
a
thought
car.
I was going through the earth. Yeah.
Right. We're in Cleveland. We're in Cleveland.
It is
Where are
darker than dark, and all of a sudden my car's like, ba-boom.
Yeah.
And, but, I just,
Oh, yeah.
you talking got me thinking, like, that alone's a fortune.
Yeah, right. So there's layers here. So the first layer, which I think has been the thing, aside from the ownership challenges and the owner as a challenge, but there's this concern about contamination on this site and any old industrial
Yeah, of
site.
course.
So, I think what we're learning, and part of what our office does, is to try to find those old industrial sites that are really scattered all over the county, really. And what holds them back often, in addition to sometimes a landowner who's not very forward-thinking, not very cooperative, is just this perceived broad contamination and just, stay away. We don't know what's there. It's a big challenge. It's too much money. Just forget about it. So I think we've wrapped our brains around that first layer of the challenge on this campus. We understand the contamination issues. They are not insurmountable and they can be addressed. The next is the just kind of basic infrastructure of the site, the parking lots, the roads, the utilities, all that stuff that really hasn't been maintained since IBM was there. And that's going to be a huge lift. And that's why, I think we need to put this site into the hopper as really what it is, a regionally significant site that at some point will be wrestling, I hope, I knock on wood that the day comes soon that we'll be wrestling with what developer, what project is the right thing that the community could support there. And then that developer, part of their challenge will be to figure out how they raise the capital to fix that utilities, to get the roads up and running, all that stuff. But it's a hugely valuable site. So I think no doubt there will come a time when a developer is willing to invest that money there.
Yeah, I know you sent out not call it a request for proposal, but a request for ideas about what to do with that site, and that generated a little bit of interest.
Yeah, and we were really in that request for expressions of interest that we issued in January.
Yeah.
We were really focused on the west side and the Bank of America building primarily.
Right.
And we got 22 responses just on that building. And so I think that just started us. This is all a process, right? And it's a process that's kind of both us kind of learning and figuring out the right next step to take forward. And it's also about re-engaging both the neighboring community and the broader region and developers and businesses and helping them understand that there's, I wouldn't say we're quite open for business on the site, but we're headed there pretty quick.
Well, and I think it'd be, we'd be remiss if we didn't say it's, kudos to Pat Ryan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's all
because,
it's
the owner
stagnant, right?
The owner has ignored people and the community.
I was just thinking about this. Since 1998, I can remember sitting in Wiltwick with Allen Ginsberg standing up and saying, "Oh, blah blah blah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that," and that was a long time ago. 1998.
Well, I'll never forget either. So after 9/11, there was a push to get the financial firms to have off-site backup facilities. They had to be more than 60 miles outside of New York.
And that was a prime location.
A relative of mine, who will remain unnamed, had brokered a deal for one of them to come to take over one of those sites.
Yeah.
And as he said it at the time, on the goal line, that I'll let you finish the sentence.
The fumble occurred.
Yeah, fumbled. He was running through the end zone with nobody in sight, and at the 11th hour, he just killed the deal.
Yeah.
Over arrogance.
Yeah. And I'll tell you that's the story repeated over and over and over again. And so,
well, that's why I bring up, because it's way more complicated than what we're talking about. And
let's shift to the Kingstonian and just Tim, just give us a I know they're still, I think, percolating through the process and moving forward. And do you have a latest for folks on the Kingstonian?
I think it's basically in the kind of final logistical stages that involve kind of all of the necessary steps to get them ready for their construction to begin. And I think they're aiming for first quarter, second quarter of next year to really be shovels in the ground. So I think there's some remaining steps. Remember, part of this is the kind of transfers of land that need to happen for the former parking garage and the pit to end up as part of this development site. So that's what's going on now. I think the the steps, I think, from here are all those technical steps. So I think I know that this has been a long haul and a rough haul, and I know that there's still mixed feelings about the project. But I think it's really, as we come out of the pandemic, I think we all recognize that we have an even more significant housing challenge than we did before. We have to be building housing at all price points, and we have to focus that really in our downtown areas. That's where we need to build that housing. That's where people want it and where it's most.
Could I ask you a follow-up on the Kingstonian? And it's by no means to disparage any, it's not the purpose of the question.
Yeah.
But there's that project out by the bypass there. So I believe it's a RUPCO project.
Yes. Yep. Landmark.
How does something like that get approved so quickly? And, I've said to people from the beginning, who better to do a private development than Brad Jordan?
Right.
And his family and his business partners. I watch what they've gone through, and I fear that, I feared for a long time. I mean, God bless them all. I don't know how they've stuck through this all, but that is, as a lifelong resident here, I don't understand how something through a nonprofit agency can go up so quickly.
Yep.
And
well, I'll tell you, I mean, I don't know that there's an answer, but I think the insight that I gained going through all this is that, and I think it's true, and we should learn this lesson and think about it for every future project, that, we live in a community that is not cheap to develop anything in.
Correct.
And so, it requires often some form of incentives in order to make a project of any size really work economically. But that always comes with a trade-off that, if there's going to be public incentives, then there has to be an argument about what the public benefit is.
Right.
And that those are kind of, the balancing of, is the public benefit worth the public incentive?
Right.
That's the challenge that I think we ran into with the Kingstonian, and they required, and I think the evidence kind of points to, they required a significant public investment in order for the project to be viable. And that's where, I think the better we can, as a community, grapple with what are the benefits that really matter to us. And I think with the Kingstonian, the initial argument about parking as a critical need in Uptown, I think is true, but I don't know that there was consensus about that being the most important public benefit. And so I think this is a lesson. Like we need to think carefully about what do our communities need, want, and how do we use the tools of incentives in order to get those things, and then recognize that that's the trade-off that's necessary in a community, in a place where building stuff is not cheap, where the process is long and painful for a developer, so they're, any risk aversion is going to mean they're going to walk out the door. So.
It was interesting because I live, full disclosure, 5 blocks from there.
Yeah.
Right? So plus I often, Uptown will be the most happening place once it goes through. But, I would say to people that maybe didn't think it should happen, and I said, well, 2 things. One, try to go uptown and have lunch on a Saturday at noon.
Right, yeah.
Okay?
Right.
You might as well park at Dietz Stadium. I'll save you the time.
Get your steps in. Get some extra steps in.
Work off lunch. Right. But number 2, this was an open RFP.
Yeah.
that the mayor initiated. So, I often say these, people that are against these things, why not why not respond to the RFP?
Right.
Well, they don't answer you that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, put it in an RFP. Do you have $2.8 million to build a garage?
Yeah, right.
I don't.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
Tony?
Right.
No, not recently anyway.
We need parking uptown.
Yeah.
It's just, you sit not on the sidelines, but you watch and you go, that's being built already, and now these guys,
So
probably more generous than anybody in the city of Kingston, are getting put through the ringer. It just doesn't add up to me.
Yeah, and I think this is something, again, I think our best hope is to learn the lessons that this taught us. And
you make
all
a
kind
great
of
point, because I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I think that, to that point, Landmark Place is, requires less in incentives to do because of the funding that's available from other sources. So RUPCO is incredibly good at what they do, which is to leverage federal and state funding to build low-income, affordable, or supportive housing.
Which is needed.
Which is totally needed. That's a part of the mix, and we need that too.
Yeah.
So I would say that we're lucky to have a RUPCO that does that part well, and we're lucky to have the Jordans and the Benoras that have committed to doing this project, which is a very different project, and the mix of funding and support that it needs very different, we're willing to take it through the ringer and come out the other side. So,
any Thomasine Oliphant's coming on in about 10 minutes, and I know there's a few initiatives going on in the county. The Green Careers Coalition, one, right?
Yep.
The Healthcare Consortium, another one. The Manufacturing Council of Industries, another one, and tourism. So you have a lot of
I think the thing that those should all just indicate to people is that if you haven't noticed, the big challenge that our employers face right now is finding people. And this actually relates back to that housing challenge. And I know you know this.
Yeah. We live it every day. Every minute of every day.
Well, who knows better than the guy
exactly.
right here?
Well,
Norman Staffing, by the way.
Thank you.
Little plug.
Thanks for the little plug. Gratuitous plug. Thank you. Yeah, but I think the point is the county has is it the 2040?
Yep. So 2040 is our economic development strategy. And, I think remember, that started before the pandemic. We took a little pause in the beginning of the pandemic and finished that report in the middle of the pandemic. And so it, I think, reflects some of what we're seeing now, but it was really driven mainly out of pre-pandemic stuff. So it's a reminder that even before the pandemic, some of these challenges were still there. We knew that our employers were having a hard time finding qualified candidates and keeping them. And, partly that was due to the cost of housing even then, and that's only gotten more acute now. Just looking at the latest unemployment stats from the state, it looks, like we're still in a weird moment. We're definitely more people in the workforce, lower unemployment than we had a year ago.
Right.
But actually a drop of about 1,000 people in the workforce from last year. So it's a weird thing. We would think that we would be seeing people who had walked away from the workplace and said, look, I'm taking a break. This is crazy. I do not want to work. My kids are home from school. I got to take care of them. And that we would see those people re-entering the workforce now. Not as quickly as I think we would hope, and so it's still a struggle for folks to find those employees.
I think it's, believe it or not, it has to do with the summertime too.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is people are saying, okay, well, I have a couple of months
yeah,
off.
I'm going to enjoy this.
I'm going to enjoy myself, like when we were back in school. Let's take the summer off, and the employers need the fuel to make the economy go, and that's the employees.
That's totally right.
And so. It's been frustrating, but I think we're going to. I was telling Dan earlier, our office is getting more inquiries now of people coming back. We constantly get employers saying we need every sector.
Yep.
Tourism.
Yep.
Manufacturing, healthcare is
everything.
Totally. Healthcare is they are so desperate. I mean, they are.
Hospitality seems to be really. I mean, as you and I were talking earlier, like restaurants and hospitality. I mean. It's tough work, right?
Yeah.
But I was traveling for the first time 2 weeks ago. I was up in Sackett's Harbor for a lacrosse tournament, and I'm a Marriott member. We always stay at Marriott's.
Yep.
And I had organized a group of families to stay there to, make it fun for the kids and whatever. So I go downstairs early Saturday morning, and if you stay at Marriott's, you always know they put out a nice breakfast.
Yeah.
So I go downstairs 7 a.m. Saturday morning.
Nothing.
No breakfast.
So, I got 14 people with me, right? And I told them all, we'll meet for breakfast at 7:30.
Scramble some eggs. Let's go.
Right. So when you're a Marriott member, I mean, they excel at customer service.
Yeah.
So I get the survey, the next day, and so I just put a blurb in, and the girl in the morning just said, "I'm sorry, we don't have breakfast today," and I, fine. So I emailed, kind of, what's up, and I'm not thinking. The general manager of the Watertown property contacted me, and she said, "Mr. Gruner, I really apologize. We don't have the staff to serve a full breakfast."
That's amazing.
And I said, "Man, Dan, you got to be more in tune with,
Yeah.
all the facets of what's going
This
on."
is what's going on. I think,
And it's just not, and I'm sure you see this, Tim, it's just not Ulster County. This is Hudson Valley, state, national. I mean, this is...
Well, I was mentioning to you, Burlington, Vermont, Church Street, which if anybody's been there is the main drag. And really popular place. I went to school up there. They've had to close 3 times in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, and that's as popular a place as
you can get. Yeah.
So hopefully...
do those unemployment benefits expire, or they do?
September 6th or 7th.
First week of September.
So,
okay.
They're done. And that's, a factor. It's not, I'm not sure it's not
right.
the only
I think we
factor,
should be
right?
careful to not assume that that's the only thing and that magically
Correct.
this is going to get solved right after that.
Correct. There's
one of the things,
lives have changed.
Yeah, people's lives have changed dramatically. Sure. And people, I think, are reevaluating what is a job that they're willing to take. I was reading an article about this in the hospitality industry, and I think a real struggle there of direct service of any kind is a scary thing coming out of a 1.5 year long, pandemic. So,
I mean, what we're seeing is rate per hour is going up. We're seeing, and that's a function of supply and demand, I think. And I hope that those rates don't creep back down when the supply of workers comes back. I'm fearful that that'll happen because I think people need and deserve to make a good wage. Totally. And where we're seeing, $13, $14 an hour jobs are now $15, $16, $17. And that's kind of pushing the whole pay cycle through. You were used to be in this world.
Yeah.
So now the jobs that were paying 15, 16, 17 are now paying 20, 21, 22.
Right.
So we're seeing that, but hopefully it'll stick.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I think there was a report that was coming out recently too, just pointing out that wages have really, especially at the lower end of the spectrum, have been stagnant for 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
So, this is...
You're talking about $15 previous world. I worked in the recruiting world.
Yeah.
Let's think about this. 19 years ago.
Yeah.
I was paying, as you know very well, medical billing.
Yeah.
At one of the major hospitals in Boston, $14 to $16 an hour.
Yeah.
19 years ago.
19 years ago. Yeah. And
have some things gotten more expensive in 19 years?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
so I think it's not surprising that we're in this place. But I also as a former small business owner, I know it's a struggle for a small business to say, I used to be able to pay $15 or $20 an hour and I have to up that by 25%. How do I can't turn around and bill my customers 25% more. So how do I make this work?
You look at the prices at restaurants, right?
Their
cost of goods are through the roof.
Yep.
And I'm sure they've had to pay some people.
Yeah.
Tough balance.
So I think we get through the summer. Hopefully, we're going to see a little bit of bounce back, and we'll see. I mean, hopefully, they're out there. I think, right? They were out there.
They're still somewhere.
They're somewhere.
They might be on the beach for now.
I'm not sure where, but Tim, thank you for doing this every month. I mean, we appreciate it. I know. I feel like we're getting through it, making progress. We appreciate you sharing what's going on in the county. I think the listeners appreciate it. So it's not,
Yeah, and thanks for, being candid about the way a different project goes through. I think people need to know that.
And people need to know that this is not, maybe sometimes it seems like, a small group of people in a room somewhere in the county office building deciding this, but there's a lot of ways that I think people need to engage in this and say what's important to them, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. And hopefully we'll continue to try to get that right as projects. There's more projects in the pipeline, and so we'll continue to have this discussion.
Right, absolutely.
I want to make a quick plug if I can.
No, please. You got a few minutes, actually.
Yeah.
So please do.
So, we talked, I think, last time about a new grant program that the state has rolled out, and I've been hearing that there have not been as many applications as they expected, and I think people need to know that, there was PPP and EIDL and all that stuff through federal funds, but the state now has their Pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant Program, and this is open to, and I think what is attractive to me as a former very small sole proprietor, solopreneur business, this is, even Schedule C, sole proprietors, people who have kind of their own shingle and just kind of do their own thing, are eligible for this grant program. And it's kind of a sliding scale based on your gross receipts in 2019 and 2020, but it's a pretty simple application process, and it's at nysmallbusinessrecovery.com. And so you can go there, apply for up to $50,000 in a grant, straight grant, no need to pay it back.
Repay.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
And there's 800 million statewide, and I don't think it's been going as quickly as they thought. So a lot of the other programs at this point are exhausted. Shuttered venue operators was one for venues, restaurant relief fund, that's all, the money's gone for now. So instead, this is the one that I think folks should be looking at.
No restriction on type of business, or?
There are some restrictions. I can't go into all the details off the top of my head, but I think it's pretty clear. There's a quick kind of tutorial on the website there. We also did a webinar that we have a recording of on our website at ulstercountyny.gov.
If you send me that link, I will post it on KCR's Facebook page along with your photo.
Yeah, sounds good.
Put that up. And you're going to hang around a little bit because I think we told Thomasine that you weren't going to go anywhere. I'm not sure she's here yet or not. But
she is. She's in the lobby.
Great. Okay. So, Lawrence, maybe we can go to break, come back with Thomasine Oliphant, still have Tim Wiedemann here, and the last segment of our show upcoming. It's cool, Dan, right? We're having, it's freezing in here, but
I like it.
You like it? No, I'm kidding. All right, Lawrence, take it away.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Central Hudson reminds you, when you're doing yard work, safety matters. If you use a ladder, be aware of overhead electric lines, including the service wire that runs to your house. Even wooden ladders can conduct electricity with dangerous results. And be very careful if there are electric lines above or near a swimming pool, and you're working with skimmers, brooms, or other long-handled tools. Central Hudson wishes you a safe summer.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Jackie Lovezzo. I'm from Lake Katrine, and I support the Kingston Community Radio because it is an invaluable resource to the community and its residents.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Thanks, Larry. Dan Gruner here. Tony Marmo's abandoned me, so he has all of the introductions. And so to prevent myself from fumbling, I'll ask everyone to introduce themselves as... Oh, Tony's back.
Perfect. That was quick. Holy
moly. Well, right. Tony, I don't know. It's,
that was
we'll
quick.
Leave that there. But
leave it there. Leave it there.
I was just about to fumble through introductions because you have everybody here. So we have Tim from Ulster County. I'll let you...
So Tim Wiedemann, Director of Economic Development for Ulster County, and my esteemed colleague, Thomasine Oliphant, who's our Director of Employment and Training.
Yes.
Welcome, welcome.
Thomasine and I were just trying to figure out how we know each other.
I know, we know each other somehow.
Yeah, but we'll figure it out.
So, Thomasine, just give a little bit of background. I know you're relatively new to your position.
Yes. So,
and just give a little background so people know who you are.
yeah, so I'm originally from Long Island. I'm a full SUNY alumni. Went to community college down there, Suffolk Community College and Stony Brook University. I'm a social worker. Been a social worker for 10 years and been in the field at not bottom level, I would say, but like on the ground, boots on the ground, case management. Been in director positions. Also worked in higher education. But a lot of my career has been up here in the Hudson Valley. So I've established roots. I worked at Family of Woodstock, Mental Health Association, Adoptive and Foster Family Coalition, and prior to this position, I worked at Dutchess Community College, helping to spearhead their DCC Cares initiative. So in this role, I am the director of the Ulster County Office of Employment and Training and director of the Workforce Development Board.
Okay, great. So those are two separate but kind of common initiatives. So talk a little bit about the first one, the employment and training, and what that's all about.
So the Office of Employment and Training is housed in the Ulster County Career Center, 521 Boise's Lane, and if anybody is looking to get some support. So my employment team, we help assist anyone in the community to access resume assistance, any assistance looking for jobs. We have specific criteria for certain programs. For our adult services, we have on-the-job training, which is a program where you're able to work with an employer to be able to get some training prior to actually being fully employed. It's a great benefit for businesses because we pay we do reimbursement for the wages.
We've started to see businesses love this, to have somebody on kind of a conditional basis, and they get the wages paid at least partly through the program. So
yes, great. Especially through this pandemic, it's been a huge support to businesses getting back on their feet and helping with filling those positions. So that has been a great opportunity.
Now, can you go in person now? Are you open for in-person?
We're open by appointment.
Okay, great.
So we do with the Ulster County Career Center. We share the Career Center with Department of Labor staff.
Right.
They're currently not meeting with individuals in person, but they are meeting with anyone who's on unemployment to help get back to reemployment virtually. So they are providing virtual services.
Right.
So they're still active. They're coming back into it and being active now. But we still see individuals by appointment, and we're very flexible now. We're seeing people virtually, by phone appointments. We want to make our services as accessible to the public as possible.
Give some contact information, either a phone number or you can give the location again. Is by United Healthcare is there. Used to be Old Metropolitan Life a long time ago.
Yes.
Not too far from the west.
Right near this west side of the IBM campus.
Exactly. So that's 521 Boise's Lane.
Right. And a number?
And yes, 845-340-3170.
Okay. So talk about the unemployment numbers have been, Tim was just talking.
We were talking about it.
They're coming down a little bit.
We're both going to look at ours.
Now you got to take a peek at the...
it's at 5% for Ulster County.
So that's down just to Scotia. It was like 5.5, I think.
Yes.
And then, do you know the numbers? I know at one point it was like 5,300 folks that were unemployed in Ulster County. Not too long ago, I think maybe that's come down a wee bit too.
June, it looks like 4,400.
Okay, 4,400. Well, that's good news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that is good news.
So we're making some headway.
Yeah, and those are the numbers. Anecdotally, I can tell you, just for Norman staffing, and I'm sure businesses are feeling this too. More people are starting to knock on doors saying, "Hey, what do you have?" And we say we have a lot.
Yes.
There's a lot of opportunity out there.
And one successful program we have going on right now is our Summer Youth Employment Program, which we have employed over 130 youth.
Great.
So those are the ages between 14 to 20. And we've had success. Usually, sometimes kids will drop out because it's so long. And there have been remaining in their placements. And we have some great collaborations going on. We have about 10 youth in the Albany Can Code training, so they're getting front-end web development training. Wow. We have Brothers at Bard mentoring City of Kingston
wow.
high school students at their site, Ramapo, and also partnership with Ellenville High School with Go Beyond Greatness, Ashley Knox, providing some additional work readiness training.
Well, that's encouraging stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Where were you earlier when we were ready to get the razor blades out?
So
Tony's such a doomsday guy.
I know.
Tell people, I don't think many people are aware of the Albany Can Code program.
Yes.
I actually know Anne Marie and
Yes.
what she has created, and now I believe it's going to be called Kingston Can Code.
Yes, it's Kingston Can Code.
So could you spend a minute talking
Yes.
about that program?
They have been a wonderful, wonderful partner. This is our second cohort going through the program for our summer youth employment program. The kids are able, when they come out, they develop websites. I mean, it's incredible.
Sheesh.
And they have been so supportive that even our youth that may not have access to a laptop, I think they provided 5 laptops for our
Wow,
youth.
that's great. That's amazing.
So they have been super supportive.
And it's a great program because it really does engage the employers too. I remember
Yes.
sitting at the first employer roundtable where it was like, we had some banks, we had some tech companies, we had, range of different employers all talking about like what are the really essential skills and positions that they need to fill, and how could we make sure that we're getting kids the skills that they need in order to fill those without having to go through like a 2-year degree program just to
Right.
get those skills. So it was great. And I think that's one of the things that I think Thomasine and I think one of the great partnerships here is that we I think collectively can bring a perspective on what the employer needs are.
Yes.
And Thomasine has some great staff that really meet and go through with employers exactly what they need, and then trying to reach out to the people who can fill those positions and really make them aware of those positions.
And talk about, we were talking earlier about, do the right thing and give back.
Right.
This woman, Anne Marie
Yeah.
Lanisi, was a super successful tech entrepreneur.
Yes.
And decided to start this program. It started as
back.
Albany Can Code, and
Bless her.
And she just announced recently that she's expanding to other parts of the
Yes.
state.
Yes.
Is it Kin Code?
Ken,
Yeah,
C-A-N.
Can Code, yes.
Kin Code. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and the whole
And even
it's-
veterans, there's scholarships for veterans. So
Okay, great.
We've had connected veterans to their office, and it has been wonderful.
It's
So
a great program. It's
super.
exciting too that I think they are going to other places now, but I think we feel special because I
Yes.
think right after they were really successful in their first round in Albany, their next stop was down here in Kingston and Ulster County, and it's a challenge because it's a model that doesn't fit neatly into some of the existing programs and funding sources.
Right.
But I think everybody recognizes that this kind of boot camp model of really relatively intense, relatively short duration training on very specific employer-driven skills is the way to get people ready for a job.
And
Right,
giving
right.
and
And it
giving kids or veterans, whatever it is, tangible technical skill
Yes.
where you can have an immediate impact.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
I mean the
and-
products
Yeah,
of
the
The
literally
workforce
we're
running,
seeing,
right?
Absolutely.
And be
We're seeing their,
valuable to an employer.
we're seeing their websites after.
Yeah,
So we
and they're
saw
real-
they're real websites.
These are real. These
yes.
are not,
So
me
14
sitting
to
with a
20-year-olds,
pin code
you
dummy.
know.
Don't let Sean Mahoney see this.
And then it creates a pathway, so then
Right.
they can take the the next level course. So
Right,
It's pretty exciting.
continues on.
So
I was going to register for. They had
Oh, no
a
kidding.
Python, which is like
Yes.
a programming language that's about databases and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And I'm kind of a geek about that
Yeah.
stuff. And I wish that I had made the commitment because it sounded like an awesome program.
Cool.
So.
Talk about the other training aspects of, we talked about employment and the unemployment world and how to find and help. But talk about, this is one example. There are other examples about training dollars that are available for
Yes.
companies. Go ahead.
So we have what we call our individual training accounts, ITAs, where we're able to pay for individuals who are making $22 or less, pay for their training.
Which is a lot of people at Ulster County.
Yes, or unemployed,
Right.
correct? So
Right.
we partner with training providers, CDL training, the bus training.
Great.
Ulster BOCES, their adult education, if they have short-term trainings, CNA.
Right. Certified nursing
Certi-
assistants.
Yes,
right.
certified nursing assistant, as
Right.
well as SUNY Ulster has multiple trainings.
Right.
So we really make that bridge, and we're able to pay for that full certification, and it leads to credentials.
Yeah.
Industry recognized credentials, and it helps them get into the field
Exactly.
right away.
And yeah, that's such a great, and it's just, we talk about this. We're one of the best kept secrets. I mean, this is, really, we need to,
Right.
get the word out. And so we're happy to be able to have you on today to talk about this. And we'll have you on some periodic basis so you can keep chatting about it. Now, let's talk about the infamous Workforce Development Board.
Yes.
Right.
So the Workforce Development Board is a collection, it's really a network of businesses, training providers, and all partners together, workforce professionals who we help to develop sector-based strategies, make sure that we're looking at what are the demand occupations and making sure our trainings are aligning and making sure what what the business needs are, that our trainings are really aligning and whatever policies that we have in place that we're looking at them and assessing them and making sure that anything that we're doing is accessible to the public, that our work is accessible to the public.
Right.
And 50% of our board are business leaders. So
Right. I love this part about it. It's
Yes.
a government, it's a private sector, public sector board, partnership, coalition. And really, the business people can speak to the folks that are in government and vice versa, saying,
Yes.
what are the needs, what's going on, and it really has a ton of potential, again, to, address this whole workforce issue. I mean, we're only limited right now, in my opinion, by the number of folks that are able to get into the workforce and be,
And I think what's unique about our area is that our training providers are really open, that now we're really having this focus of it's business-driven curriculum instead of the vice versa. That are
so key.
Yes.
And I mean, it's hard because I think the systems and funding programs that support the training aren't always keeping up with the changes in the employer's
Workplace,
need and the workplace. But the only way it can work is with this kind of partnership with a board that really represents the voice of the employers at the table, talking with folks like Thomasine and her team to help wherever possible to kind of align it in ways that we can do. So to Albany Can Code, for example, like that program is really out of, I think, a response to the fact that, look, we need other methods, we need other kinds of programs that can really attract the job seekers, because I think that's the other thing. I don't know if you're still seeing this, but I know for a while the challenge here is that some of these programs are having a hard time recruiting actual job seekers. And so just like the employers are having trouble recruiting them into jobs, some of the training programs are having trouble recruiting them into their roles to actually get the training that's needed. So
Right.
I don't know. Everyone's at home watching Hulu and Netflix and Amazon Prime and
Not me and you, Tony. Not me and you. We're out there beating the drum.
Hey, get away from it.
Well, it is. I think for all of our mental well-being, we all need to be participants
Absolutely.
of our community and working.
Absolutely.
And I just worry about I've used the term in other conversations that, if you're out of the workforce too long, unfortunately, you become unemployable.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Right? Because there's all these different great programs that you're talking about, and people are being proactive to better themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not one of those, time can pass you by. Even like one of you had just said about, the programs keeping up with what's going on in the private sector. Look at how much our private sector's changed in the last 18 months.
Yeah.
Right.
From
the remote
or
Yes.
tech people that might be looking for an assistant,
Right. Yeah.
Right.
just all that different dichotomy of things that weren't here 18 months ago. I mean, I live 5 blocks from here. I barely know anybody in my neighborhood anymore.
It's changed so much. So much has changed. I mean, we were just
You guys are going to give me the tip when we're at the peak and I sell my house, right?
Yeah.
Because we're almost there. I mean, one house in my neighborhood just went for 500.
Approaching it.
I am.
Yeah,
My son keeps going, Dad, you make so much money. I'm like, well, where are we going to go? And
Yeah,
then
right.
that
That's the
house
trick.
went for 520. Are you kidding me?
How about Nashville? No. Go there. I want to give a shout out to SUNY Ulster as partners in this whole thing, and Ulster County BOCES as well. But Chris Marks is on the Workforce Development Board. He's amazing.
Amazing.
He's like Superman.
He
Really,
he has helped in every initiative that we put
everything you're
together.
talking
Yeah,
I mean,
and-
incredible.
And he is like Clark Kent. He's very unassuming. He just gets the work done. He's
Kind of like
all-
you.
Oh yeah, unassuming. Right. Yeah, no, I'm the other 180, okay? Chris and SUNY Ulster has been an amazing partner in every respect.
I just want to also, on that note, give a shout out to Arnaldo Severett, who's been the director of our Small Business Development Center, legend. And I think he's announced his departure, his retirement. I don't think he wants it called retirement. He's still going to do other stuff, but
he's going to shift gears.
Yeah,
and
we're going to get him involved in other ways. But the whole SBDC, SUNY Ulster, and Ulster BOCES too has been such an amazing partner in some of this stuff. Steve Casa is their director of workplace training programs, and I think this is an exciting new direction, really. And I was out at Excelsior Wood Products on Sawkill Road, talking with them about their employment challenges, and they were suggesting too, like, we need to get our claws in our high school kids while they're in high school, because many of them I think are starting to reevaluate that choice to go to 4-year college as they exit high school. And
parents are too.
And the parents are too. That's
like $75,000 a year.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
Is that I think for a long time it was a given, and parents would reinforce that message that you have to go to college. You have to go to college. You have to go to college. But I think now finding those employment opportunities that mean you're not. It's not second tier. Like you cannot go to college, not accrue $75,000 of debt, and have a better job than you might if you went to college. So, so it's trying to do that in the workplace training programs for high school kids.
But having that government, academic, and private business, right? I think if you're able to connect all three, because traditionally, you see what an employer might need versus what government might think they need or academic need, but bringing everybody to the table.
Yeah, that's the only way. That's the only way.
Right. It's great. So I was unaware of a lot of this stuff because I've been in my office for the last year and a half by myself.
Sequestered, in hibernation.
Yeah, I'm like
send food in.
I'm like getting excited because I'm actually like out with people. But
and I just want to give a shout out to the board because they have been so supportive with my transition as taking over the board and on the office. So just super supportive. And my staff, they've just been phenomenal. So
how long have you been in your role?
It'll be going on. It's 1 year and 8 months, so almost 2 years.
But
a weird 2 years.
Yeah, well, that's it. About a year plus of it has been the pandemic. So you joined in.
So 8 months.
So 8 months.
Really. A friend of mine and I decided the last year didn't happen. So
2020 was a.
I'm still 45.
Mulligan.
Did not even happen.
No, we bailed on that a while ago. So feel free to follow suit.
And I do want to say that one of the challenges that businesses have identified across all sector was soft skills.
Yeah.
So that is something that we are targeting.
So I
you just hit a nerve.
That hit a nerve with Dan.
No, you just took me back
to 1995.
Yeah, right. We were right there.
Back to the future.
Back in 97.
Yeah, right.
No, about 10 years ago, I served on a business advisory council of a college.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some powerhouse people in the room. So I learned, a long time ago, when you're new to the room, you just sit there and observe for a while. And so they were trying to get an accreditation for the business school, which is a pretty intense process that you go through. And so they were going around the table. Now, the CEO of Fox News was there.
Wow.
And the CEO of Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union, which employs 1,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's little old Dan Gruner. And so the CEO of Fox News, they said, what are the attributes that would make a successful business school graduate? He doesn't even blink. He says, effective oral and written communication.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
CEO of Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union says, I want people that can communicate with every walk of life.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
There wasn't anything about economics
or computer programming. Or
my sophomore year of college, 1995, at that point I thought I was going to be a journalism major.
Mm-hmm.
I decided I did not want to go that path, but there was a professor that I trusted immensely. I said, Dr. Lynch, I don't know what to do. She says, go English or history major. I said, why is that? She says, if you can effectively communicate, you will succeed in this world.
It's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting.
25 years ago holds true today.
Which did you choose, history or English?
Unfortunately, English. And I'll tell you why. Because history was a lot more work. And I'm in sales.
There you go. That's
I mean,
great
hey,
story.
you're absolutely right. You know,
It's
I'm a vivacious reader, and when I hear my son and his friends talk that are 13, I took them all away last summer in the middle of the pandemic, and I told them, I said, on the way down, we are going to relearn the English language.
Right.
And they didn't like it, but
Right.
you know,
But it
like,
helped them
I
in the
don't,
long
I
run,
don't even understand what you guys are saying.
Right.
And
Yeah.
these are not uneducated kids.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Just the way they do it.
Yep.
Right.
Totally right. No, I think, I don't know, I'm going to reveal that I'm a philosophy major in college. And
Yeah,
that was
that's
the
a good
same
one.
thing.
That's
It
a
was
good
like,
one.
you know, how to write and make kind of coherent arguments. And I feel like that has served me
Yes.
better
You went
than
to a liberal arts
absolutely.
school.
Oh, of course I did.
Yeah.
SUNY New Paltz.
I was required to take 2 philosophy classes.
Yeah. No, it helped me. I mean, I think even more so than my professional degree. It was like, that's the bedrock that you can really,
Absolutely.
succeed.
Exactly.
So.
Thomasine, give some contact information again. We're coming down to the close of the half hour here.
Yes,
so,
definitely. So if you'd like more information, our website is www.ulsterworks.com.
How easy is that?
I know.
Ulster Works.
You came up
Simple.
with that, didn't you?
Simple. Ulster Works.
Take credit for it.
Right?
Great.
And you can reach us by phone at 845-340-3170.
Okay. And Tim, some contact information for you. Thank you
Yeah,
for staying
so-
this half
yeah,
hour.
no,
we appreciate it. It's great.
Thomasine is a great partner,
Yeah.
and I feel like
Yeah.
the more we get to kind of brain meld, the better.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, definitely.
our office is the Economic Development Office of the county. The phone number there is 845-340-3556. Our website URL is just painful, so I'm just going to say ulstercountyny.gov, and then you'll find us there.
Yeah, it's got slashes.
Yeah,
and
there's all
backslashes
slashes and
front
backslashes. We're going to fix that. I don't know. Ulster Works, we got to come up
So,
with our own good
look,
one.
Yes.
kudos to County Executive Ryan for putting a great team together of people
Yes, he's
because
wonderful.
that's really what it takes to succeed today. And you know, when I was running Kingston Hospital, I always said my philosophy is to hire people smarter than myself, seriously, and not be intimidated by those people. Let them do their work. Let their professionals. We meet, we collaborate, we figure out what the common goal and strategy is, and go do your jobs. And that's exactly what Pat has done. So
Yes.
congratulations to him.
He's a great person to work for. I think we all
Yes.
feel excited to come to work.
Yeah.
Even in the
Truly.
heart of a
Yeah.
pandemic, we are all excited to be
And
a
there's
part
a
of the
lot
team.
to do. Look, there's a lot of challenges. We get it. We understand the reality. But there's a lot of great things that can happen going forward. And we just got to just stay at the table, keep talking. And
Yes.
on these issues in the community, Dan, we were talking earlier, you got to be able to communicate. Let's go back to what
Right.
you just said.
Communicate, yes.
The
You
guy
know-
blocked you. Why does he block you? Have a dialogue.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the thing. I am very, very cognizant of, you know, it's interesting. What I learned over the last year and a half is I express my thoughts. I always have. And people misconstrue those thoughts so quickly. And
Not uncommon, by the way.
Just
Not
a quick
uncommon.
story because
Right.
I'd like to try and clear up for anyone that's still misconstrued. I don't hate teachers. I actually love and support them. I just challenge if, you know, this is the comment I said.
Yeah.
You know, I watch these people on Facebook. It's just like open book every day. I'm like, why are you doing this?
Right.
So all I said one night was, you're part of a union.
Right.
If you don't like what's going on in terms of the management of, you know,
Right.
the district and what have you,
Sure.
Yeah.
the union bands together to demand change. That's the American
That's the way
way.
it works. Yeah.
Dan Gruner hates teachers. Whoa, whoa,
Whoa.
whoa. Hey. No.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
you know, it's no different than earlier this morning I talked about someone on the school board who was putting out posts on the parent site about, you know, the second wave, and it was a fear-mongering article. I'll just call it what it is. So I offered my own thoughts on it. And why don't you get to know the majority of the people that want their kids back in school full-time, need their kids back full-time, shouldn't be wearing a mask. And I'm not, you know, I'm just summarizing what I said. he blocks me.
Yeah.
So then he posts another article within a half hour. My buddy texts me, hey, go look at. So I offer my thoughts again. And now I'm banned. I have been banned.
Yeah,
so
you're done.
You know, I would argue I know how to communicate, but I've been banned. So Herb Lamb, thank you again. I'd be glad to buy you a cup of coffee.
There you go.
A cold beer.
That's a good
or breakfast.
Good offer.
You know what? Why don't we do
Talk
this?
it through.
Breakfast.
Communicate.
Eat Stadium Diner, public forum. We can work it out. I don't hug anymore. I used to be a hugger. I'm not a. Yeah, we'll do a fist bump. But Herb, seriously, I want to talk to you because I want to sit down with you. I'd love to sit down with the whole board because you've blocked out the parents for the last year and a half. You need to know what we're thinking. We want our kids back in school. They're not wearing masks anymore. If someone wants to wear a mask, you can wear a mask.
Right.
But to put stipulations on families that have just been, the mental destruction is too much, and the parents have had it, so they won't respond to us. So here's my announcement. Herb, I'll buy you breakfast.
There you go.
I'm out of bed at 6 a.m. every day. Let me know.
All right, Thomasine Oliphant, thank you. Tim Wiedemann,
Yeah, of
thank
course.
you.
Thank
Dan
you.
Grinner, thank you for
Thank you,
being
Dan.
here.
Am I
pinch hitting.
banned here too?
Yeah, right. I think that's the subtle subtext.
Larry?
No.
Banned?
You're not banned.
Not banned. Larry,
No,
give
you're
me a
not
thumbs
banned.
up.
No, we thought Scott Harrington left. He's back.
Love you, buddy.
Dan's
Love you,
not as
Scott.
bad as Scott Harrington.
No,
but
no, no,
yeah,
no,
he's a
no,
lot-
no.
he's
Love
a-
Scott.
Yeah.
Listen, thank you for the work
Yeah.
you're doing. Be
Thank
well, be
you.
safe, and
Pleasure to be
everyone, go do a random act of kindness for someone. Okay,
Yes.
Yeah.
just be
Yes.
kind to people, and really, that's what we need more of, right?
Yeah, thank you, Tony.
You know what I tell myself every morning? Get up, put your pants on.
Good start.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Yeah. Step one, get that out of the way. Go out and try and help somebody today.
Yes.
There you go.
That's key.
All right, Lawrence. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. Be well, be safe.